I'm Craig Garman. I'm a sergeant with the PA Fish and Boat Commission, Bureau of Law Enforcement. I'm stationed at the South Central Region Office.
Okay, so everybody's talking about this. It's just very popular time for encountering snakes. What are, in your, I got the basics, but what are snakes doing right now? Why are they we're seeing so many?
Well, as everyone should know, a snake is a cold-blooded reptile that, they fluctuate their body temperatures based on the outside environment. So things are getting warm. They're warming up. Snakes are on the move. It's the breeding season for some species, and so they're really moving. They're moving away from their denning locations, out looking to breed, and we're getting a lot of complaints.
Okay. But as far as the, what you should do if you encounter a snake, let's talk about identification and then move from there.
Well, the first thing you should do, depending on whether you're an adult or a child or what your knowledge is of a snake, if you're not sure, back away from it. Depending on where you live, it could be a venomous snake, it could harm you. Chances are it isn't, because we only have 2 species out of 21 species in Pennsylvania that are venomous snakes. So the likelihood of that snake being venomous, depending on where you're living and the habitat in your area, the chance of it being venomous are slim. But you always got to treat every snake like it is, because it could harm you.
Okay. So even a bite from a non-venomous snake can be painful or uncomfortable.
Yeah, the major thing to worry about a non-venomous snake is when they do bite you. If they do bite you, I mean, there's going to be bacteria get in your system, and you need to clean that wound out. There's not going to be any venom, but you still need to clean the wound out so you don't get any type of infection.
Okay. So you deal with people who get a snake bite and you determine it's non-venomous, but what do you recommend they do? Is that something you can do at home, or should you go to the doctor? Well,
through my 30-year career, I've dealt with a lot of snake bites. I've been called to emergency rooms by emergency room doctors trying to identify snakes that people brought in and said they just got bit. I mean, that's what we do. All our officers are trained in identifying, our snakes and whether or not they're venomous and so forth. So if you get bit by one, my first suggestion would be somehow capture that snake. If you need to, unfortunately, kill that snake, put it in a jar, put it in a bag, take it with you to the hospital. In the event that you're not sure what it is, in the event that it is a venomous snake, that hospital is going to need to know how to treat you, whether that with some type of an anti-venom or just a simple alcohol rub.
But in general, if I see a snake around my property, and it's not, the law states that you're not allowed to kill a snake unless you're in danger, right?
That's correct. All our snakes are protected to an extent, in that you would need a license to kill one, a fishing license that is, if you're of age. Our venomous snakes are timber rattlesnake and our northern copperhead are both protected, meaning you have to have a permit to catch one of those. There's also a season, and you're only allowed to have one, and once you capture or kill that snake, you have to have it tagged. So there are some things you need to know before you were to go out and try to capture one or even kill one in your backyard. Obviously, if you have children and you have a snake that's threatening them, you can take care of that, but please call us first. We have officers that will respond upon their availability to assist you in removing that venomous snake, because we don't want them harmed. We want to protect them.
Okay. And to make my home less attractive to snakes, what do I want to do there? If I don't want snakes around my home, there's not really good snake repellents, but you can do some other things, right?
I do not know of any official snake repellent that actually works. Have not heard of any, have not seen any. Our herpetologist, Chris Urban, is not aware of any that actually work. So the best advice we give to landowners is habitat management. Keep your log piles, keep your mulch piles clear and free from around your residential area. Rock piles, snakes love rock piles. They love mulch piles. So that's what they're going to go to find, not only a place to breed, but also where they're going to be feeding. And another thing you need, and we get a question a lot, how do I know whether or not that snake is venomous? Of the 21 species, 2 are venomous. Please do not go by the color, the shape of the head, or anything like that. The 3 ways of telling the difference between a venomous and non-venomous snake and a Pennsylvania native snake are 3 things. One is the eye. If you look at the actual pupil in the snake's eye, if it's elliptical, like a house cat, elliptical, that you got a venomous snake. If it's perfectly round pupil like humans, you have a non-venomous snake. You can go by the head. It's somewhat diamond shaped, but in a venomous snake, their jaws are more pronounced and look much larger than their neck, because that's where the venom's stored. But don't go by just those. Ultimately, too, if you look at the underside of the snake's tail, on a non-venomous snake, it's going to have what we call a zipper tail, just like a zipper. It's going to 2 rows of scales clear up to the very end of the tail. A venomous snake, a northern copperhead or an eastern timber rattlesnake, is going to have 1 single row of scales the whole way around the tail. That's a dead giveaway. You know you got a venomous snake if you have that.
Okay. That's it. Oh, last thing. Snakes are beneficial. You know, they have their place. Some people don't like them. They make them uncomfortable. And I don't think people like to be startled, I think, by snakes too, like coming upon one. But understand that we can coexist, right? And that they have their place. So really, just the best thing to do is leave it alone.
Absolutely. Snakes are put on this earth for a purpose. Every creature has a purpose. Snakes have theirs. They do startle you. I know that they do, and we get a lot of complaints about it, but my advice to anybody coming across one, if you're not sure, just back away. If you have a stick, shoo it away. That snake's going to want to get away from you more than you want to get away from him, trust me. That snake's not going to kill us. We can kill him, so he knows that. So he's going to want to get away from us. So that's the best advice I could give. Try to shoo it away. If it keeps coming back and becomes a nuisance, call either a local critter getter service, contact the PA Fish and Boat Commissioner local region office, and we'll send an officer out potentially to remove that snake for you. Awesome. So let me get like a shot of your patch and stuff while you're standing there. Just a little extra something.